Welcome to another Quantum Conversation, brought to you by acoustichealth.com. I'm Loren Gailey, and I invite you to sit back as we enter the quantum realm, that space of the greater part of you. It is your connection to infinite possibilities, infinite potential, and infinite mastery. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. We are talking about self-love alchemy. We certainly know that in today's world, our responsibility to self-love is more important than ever. And my guest today is joining us once again with tools that we can use to amplify our self-love. Jen Cunnings is here, and we're so glad to have you back. Welcome, Jen.
Hi, Loren. Thank you so much for having me. It's wonderful to be back.
It is wonderful to see you again. You are an energy healer and a spiritual guide, and absolutely a self-love alchemist. And in our Zoom audience today, you're going to be tuning into some people to see if they need any support in any way. But first, we're going to talk about self-love. How is it going? I just want to check in with you as well and see your take on the current energies. They seem to be, here we are in March, and it seems, and we just came through this beautiful February. What are you sensing right now in these energies?
Yeah, and February, of course, is our month of love, and it brought up so much. The intensity was quite profound with that initial portal opening on the 2nd up to the 22nd. And, of course, then we have the external environment with the world events that are happening. And so we can see such a contrast of what's playing out in, let's call it an old reality, and then what might also be being brought to the surface in our inner reality. And so I think February was a gigantic catalyst for us to have awareness of where we're not in a loving place with ourselves. And as most of your listeners know, our journey is an inward journey. And we, of course, we're able to witness what's happening externally, but it's all a reflection of within. And, my journey with self-love, like in the beginning of the year, I said 100%, I am committing to self-love. I am determined to identify and connect with and clear all the barriers. And it's so funny because I'm seeing all these pieces come together. For instance, when I first started my healing practice like 8 years ago, I discovered I was an empath. And the word empath is, of course, very popular now, but back then it wasn't as there wasn't as much conversation. And it was this huge epiphany. And the epiphany was like all the ways in which I kept myself small, a lot of people pleasing, a lot of attachment to what people thought of me.
Mm-hmm.
And that led me to like not really be myself, like I would,
Yeah.
compromise or dim or whatever it was. And so, from that initial point of just the super aha awareness of how I was disempowering myself, which of course was not a loving place, right? Because so much of my energy was dependent on what people thought of me. And there was a lot of attachment to that. And then on top of it, as a healer, I would absorb everybody's energy, right? So like anytime we're overly attached to what people think about us, we open up that gateway to like take on. And so to really like narrow it down, because there's all these different facets, but if we were what I really narrowed down for myself is this is just places within me that are separate from love. And shortly after I had this awareness, I came across that Rumi quote that's very popular, and I put it on my email, and I've had it as my email tagline for years and years. And the Rumi quote says, "Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself you have built against it." And that just encapsulates everything. And I would put the caveat in there, to not just seek and find, but seek, find, release, and let go. So that's been my journey of self-love, and what I've realized as a teacher and a guide, and in my energy healing practice, that whatever I'm working on, my clients are working on, because we're all connected and we're all mirrors for each other. So it's just been this, ongoing journey that I really believe we're all here to seek and find the places that are not loving, so we can redirect back to our path, and we can not only just love ourselves but embody that frequency, just embody the beingness of that. And that's, to me, what's going to really ripple out and change the world, is we've got to start with this loving relationship within ourselves. So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Yes. We've said the ending close of this program is love yourself more than anyone else can. And, it sounds easy, but identifying where we're not self-loving is the big task.
Yes.
So as we go and explore that, what is that? How do we begin to identify where we're not giving ourselves love? And you were mentioning caring about what other people think, or having that hinder you. That right there is not self-love.
Right.
But that program goes so deep. I don't know why. I mean, this goes back into our genes, into our ancestors, right? It's like
Yeah.
it's got to be something more than us. But where do we begin? Where do we begin on self-love?
That's a wonderful question. And I was asking the same thing, how do I seek and find? Because there's so many layers, chocolate, yes. There's so many layers. And so I was in meditation one day and I was asking that same question. And I started to just, do some channeled writing. And ultimately, what came to fruition is these 7 aspects of self-love. So I decided to call them the 7 pillars of self-love. And the pillars are really like the pathways in which we can utilize to identify where those barriers are. And they're correlated to the chakras. So the first pillar is connection, which is the most important, in the sense of our connection to all that is, right? The oneness, the connection to our divinity, the connection to our wholeness, our multidimensional self. And when we feel any kind of separation from that, because we all do, because we're in a human body and that's part of the nature of our expression. However, when we begin to embody and remember that we're infinite, we're connected, like, some of that fear can start to dissipate. And so, to me, so that's one way that is such a powerful pathway, because if we're in a state of disconnection, we're in a state of separation from our divine, of course there's fear, right? And as you say, it's so imprinted because we've been in this space of separation for so long, and we've experienced so many eons of suffering. And so connection was like the first one that's like, this is the way. But of course, there's many others. So I was also aware that, how we perceive ourselves, right? So how we judge ourselves, how we think about ourselves, our thoughts, our negative self-talk. Marie Forleo calls it the inner shit talker, if I'm allowed to say that. And how many 70,000 thoughts we have a day. So just having awareness of what is going on in our mental mind, and not giving it as much energy as we have. Like, there's strategies. Once we have awareness of what that dialogue is, then we can begin to shift. And then the throat being like authenticity, where if we're in a people pleasing mode, we certainly aren't being true and authentic in our expression, what we're saying, what we're vocalizing. And there's been huge suppression of the throat chakra. I know you and I, Loren, talked about sound healing last year, and that's a whole other side conversation. But I've had so much awareness of so many blocks and traumatic experiences that were held in the throat because it wasn't safe to just speak truth, to be that authentic self. And then, of course, the heart having to do with compassion and just really having awareness of like where we're not being compassionate to ourselves, where we're, in a space of feeling unloving or unkind. And then the other pillar is courage, because it does require courage and bravery and strength to really not conform to the expectations of this society, of our family, of our friends, to be to exhibit, embody, and express like true self-love. We're unique. And that uniqueness is often like we hide it, like, oh, I'm going to only show this much of myself, not all of myself. So the courage, Brene Brown talks a lot about that, like the courage and the bravery that's required for us to truly step out in our truth in the most loving way. And there's no fitting in, right? There's no fitting into that. And then allowance is the other pillar, because one of the things I've identified, particularly in my practice, it's kind of like my initial go-to is where we've suppressed our emotions, where we have not allowed ourselves to feel. Feelings can be super uncomfortable. Feelings can be super amazing and joyful. And we want to embrace them all, right? We want to embrace like the joyful, happy, excited, blissful, loving feelings, but we also need to embrace the feelings that, are fearful or shame or unworthiness. And it's just been my experience in all the bodies that I've worked with that, our bodies are still containing, all of us on this kind of spiritual ascension path. We've lightened our load, we lighten our load, we lighten, we expand, we enlighten, we raise our consciousness. And I still haven't come across anyone who's still not, holding a little bit of trapped emotion here, trapped emotion here. So back to the Rumi quote, one of the things I realize in my practice is like my body always tells me like where the stuck energy is in people. So for the people who are on the Zoom today, that would be a wonderful inquiry, is to, inquire around what trapped energies, what trapped emotional energy is needing attention. And that's something, if we have time, I could facilitate and do some one-on-one. And then lastly is presence, because again, I've just seen so many people be disconnected from their bodies, myself included, where we didn't feel safe to be here. It didn't feel safe to be in a body. Maybe we come from other star systems or whatever, and coming here in this density, it can be uncomfortable. So I'm all about looking to clear those barriers so that we can remember the love that we are, because it is our true nature. We've just covered it up, and we've just locked some of the things inside because we were just keeping ourselves safe. But as we know, like back to February, the global shifts on the planet and everything that is unfolding for us is amplified, and just continues to amplify and increase in frequency. So the more frequency of love that's being flowed in, the easier it's going to be for us to keep clearing so that we can embody more of that love. And then the world events, right? Then we can really see, hopefully in this lifetime, the shift where we're not playing out these old paradigms of power and control and you against me and me against you, that victim, persecutor consciousness that we're seeing played out on the global field right now. So
Yeah. I think it allows us to read between the lines. I like to use that quote as a journalist. I like to read between the lines of the mainstream media. And when you zoom out and look at the bigger picture, I think we're starting to see this. What is it? That the people are no longer tolerating such behavior. And that's a really good sign. It makes me want to cry, actually, because I think we're seeing it, we're witnessing it. But the importance of the self-love in this is that, there's an aspect of judgment. In your 7 pillars of self-love, it's like we're judging ourselves. Your second pillar is, how do we judge ourselves? And so there's got to be a place, and when we're talking sovereignty, there's got to be a place where we don't judge others anymore, or how would we extract ourselves from the judgment? Your thoughts on judgment, self-judge, because I've seen just recently my judgment of myself. Someone judged me in a former life, but then I took that on, and I mean, I saw it very clearly. So what do we do with judgment and looking at the world and being responsible for our self-love? Where does judgment fit in?
Yeah, and that's the key word, is the responsibility, right? So if it's a commitment to stay in a space of awareness so that we are, whether we're judging ourselves or whether we're judging somebody else, it's the same. It's a place of separation. And as those layers of separation thin and dissolve and release, we can really see, like you and me, we are one. Like we are one in love. And in the meantime, until we are able to perceive through those eyes of love and we have these filters of judgment, like number one is to stay in awareness. Like, where do we create this or perpetuate this paradigm of you against me or me against you, right? Comparison, judgment, um, you know, self-preservation versus being in service to the whole. But it does start within. Like, one of the big messages I got when I was kind of getting these downloads earlier this year was, it is our job. Like, this was like an emphatic, like, it is your job to cultivate a state of self-love and maintain it and be that vibration to, keep your cliche, keep your cup full, so that you can ripple that out for others. And the judgment to me is just a pathway, an avenue in which we can utilize that as a mirror and have so much awareness that if we catch ourselves in judgment, we can bring in the heart, we can bring in compassion. We're not perfect, right? We're still in these human vessels, and we're not striving for like this idealistic perfection state of being. However, the journey, right? So to me, when I catch myself in judgment, I see something on the news, or create the villain or create the good guy bad guy, I'm like, oh, they're me, I'm them. Like, and can I have compassion despite the action, right? And really pulling ourselves out of that good versus bad paradigm, us versus them, because we've all played out these parts. We've all been the villain, we've all been the victim. So if I can shift my judgment, via the awareness into, oh, can I have compassion and love and understanding and acceptance, even if I don't agree with the action, but I can love the I can love with unconditional love, or at least attempt to, right? And same thing for self-judgment. If we're being mean to ourselves, I mean, everyone listening, I'm sure you guys can agree, like, think back even just a few days. Have you had a mean thought about yourself? I have. It's and so then we can just be committed to say, okay, Jen, like, that judgment about, your hips wasn't very nice. Can I just take a moment and breathe and send some loving, compassionate, kind energy to myself?
That's your job.
That's our job.
That's our
And
job.
like, that's kind of like the daily maintenance. And
Yes.
then back to the emotions, like in looking at those different pillars, we can take deeper dives to see, where we cemented in these, unworthiness and fear and survival energy, that it's like you said, it's been in there a long time. So we got to take a deeper dive. And to me, that's where the energy work comes in, right? That's where we, open up space to look at our shadows, to look at our wounded inner child, to look at, other lifetimes where we're still carrying that imprinted trauma, that is a trapped emotion that ripples out into the thoughts and beliefs. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yes. And the beliefs are so limiting, when we are doing this work and we see a release, we can see, wow, how that belief system really has hindered us, for example. So it's wonderful work, and you are a great alchemist for self-love and for healing and helping people. So what we're going to do here in our Zoom class today is to have some folks raise their hand if anyone's feeling stuck, or if you have an issue and you need some release with Jen, please go ahead and raise your hand in our Zoom panel and we'll get to questions. But I would like to have you do a light language activation for us. Light language is source vibration, and it absolutely raises our frequency. So I'll let you feel into that direction of the light language activation, but I think that would be really cool right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can begin that. And before I do, what I would invite everyone who's listening now or later, based on what we just kind of brought up, right? Judgment, being unkind to ourselves, you know, uh, keeping ourselves in hiding, whatever it is. If anything kind of pinged you, or more than one thing pinged you in our conversation today, go ahead and bring that. Like, imagine you've got like a bowl and or a box, and we're just going to put it all in there. And so we can utilize this transmission of light language to assist you in clearing some of these barriers to love that Loretta and I have been bringing up in our conversation. So we're here together in this beautiful container. And even again, if you're not listening to this, at a different time, the container is still created. And there's such power in our community when we create, beautiful circles and containers. So let's see if we can lighten the load, clear some of the blocks. So, yeah, so let me go ahead and just get myself settled here. I think I will bring my bowl just in case. And okay. All right. So let's go ahead, and if you're in a space to just drop your eyes, drop into your body, we'll just get ourselves nice and centered and relaxed, because of course in the relaxed space we are more receptive to receive. And when we bring the light language in, we want to just be absorbent of the energy without having to necessarily need to do anything. So we can move into this space of just effortlessness receiving. But for now, let's go ahead and bring our breath to our heart space, and just seeing in the center of your heart space like a glowing globe, a glowing ball of light. And as we bring our attention here, and as we bring our breath here, we're going to create this ball of light. We're going to put it into motion. We're going to allow it to move horizontally in an infinity, a figure 8. So what we're going to do is just take that ball of light and just sweep it over to the left and sweep it over to the right. And we're just going to create this momentum. As we do this, we're asking to balance our left side and our right side, bringing it into harmony in the heart. We could ask to balance our divine feminine nature with our divine masculine nature and bringing that into the heart. So just keep that energy flowing left to right, right to left. And we're going to create that nice centered balance. And then we're going to create another ball of light also in the heart. And this one is going to loop up in infinity, up into the cosmos, and then down into the earth. So I was in meditation before our call today, and was shown to do this because the vessel of our body has the capacity to anchor love and to bring heaven into earth and earth into heaven, right? And so we can, the more we clear in our physical container of our bodies, the more we can anchor love, and the more we can bring that, the fifth dimension or higher, into this physical reality, right? And each of us is responsible for anchoring this in, right? So you're here because you know that there is a responsibility for us to embody more love. So we're just going to let these two energies, these two infinity figure eights, just keep running. Heaven into earth, earth into heaven, left to right, divine masculine, divine feminine. Okay, and now we're just going to go through, and I'm going to bring in some light language, and we're going to go through each one of the pillars to help balance. So the first pillar of connection is our ability to remember that we are not just this body, and we are not alone. We are supported, we are infinite, and we are loved. So we're just going to clear any place there has been abandonment, separation, feeling alone, and anything else that this is bringing up for you here. I'll bring in some light language to just keep this nice and harmonized and balanced. Eto la kare e seto no mate da shoto da kare e sete de bere shokoro kore etanan mara soto no makate e shokoro koshana mara yato to kore kia koro kwa. Ala na ale ketana hiata no no mokore yashono mokosana na maria kato no ki. Etana yashokoro shakara sotore atana motoro tana mara shakare ki. And the message here is a reminder for us to ask for support, to ask to receive love, to ask to have greater access to divine wisdom, divine intelligence, right? So opening up the receiving so that you can connect with your divine self in all of the universe and beyond, remembering that the connection has never been severed. We just might have put a little filter there. So we're asking to receive and opening that receiving. And then we're going to move down into the pillar of perception, asking to remove any filters, any cloudiness of where we have judged ourselves and we have not perceived ourselves through the eyes of love. So if we were to clear all the places we've been imprinted or projected with beliefs about ourselves or others that is not loving, we're just going to ask. We're going to command that those begin to clear so that left in its place is just pure love and perceiving and viewing ourselves and others and all of the world through the eyes of love. E tolo kare e shokoro baraso no me ko dodo todo sotto do kia tono na yasata da borra kita da mera shokoro kiata na maraki. I would also say asking to perceive through the eyes of truth. Keto bara sotto to korra kita da bera shokoro ma ara eto to korra kita da barashi. Eto no kate da ba no koro kusana na mera shaketa do kuruso. And as we embrace more truth and as we trust our connection, we move down into the throat so we can clear any barriers to authentic expression. Always lots of energy whenever I move to the throat here. So anywhere there has been a space where it hasn't felt safe for you to express, for you to be your truest self, and all the masks that we have had to adorn, to protect, or to fit in, asking to take those down and release. E todo koreketa namarasha korokuru satanama atia korokosa nariki. And would we all be willing to love ourselves so much that we would embrace our inner child to just be totally free, free to express, free to move, free to speak, free to sing, free to create. We're moving down to the heart now. The hearts are definitely talking here because this is where our wounding is the deepest, right? This is where we have not allowed love, like the true nature of love that is in our hearts, to be felt, to be shared. And so we're just going to ask to go really deep here, deep into the the cells, into the DNA, to clear the wounds that we have held within us that have been unloving. Everywhere love was withheld. And everywhere you withheld love. I'm going to go ahead and bring my bowl in for this one. I'll just go and take some big deep breaths into your heart, just letting the energy, like a beam of light, shedding light to any darkness. Atala koreshana rohreto ma shoku eporeshana reso taloreku yanareti tororma iya oya iu okoa mahi o aloa shoku. Let's just let our heart lights shine, right? We still have the infinity energies running through, and now we can just create a little more space in our hearts. Itala corre esho corre satarapa arkia toto korku and nanabarasha karo soto do koshaki. And then moving down to the solar plexus, bringing in the fire to ignite bravery, courage, to feel strong and bold, emboldened with the being that is you. We invite in our truest divine self, and we call back our power to stand in our sovereignty, in our truth. So we're going to turn that energy up, bright, bold. Eto para nakota ta deverasha ko maare she eso toto kuro shaka are eto etanna shakatia satanna devesha kotano no soto no makiata. So anywhere you've given your power away, or anywhere you have abused power, or anywhere you have been abused by power, we're going to ask to neutralize all of our judgments and attachments about what power is, about what it isn't, and bring it back into neutrality, into divinity. Eshokoro shanaria shokoro shakadia satona kieta de bereshokoro sanamo ore kikikia. Etono koro shakatana satana yasheta kato osatiki. And then we're going to go down into our sacral, but this is the whole body here, where we're bringing in this energy of allowance and flow. So any of the emotional energy that has been trapped, repressed, suppressed, and stuffed, we're just going to bring in beautiful divine water. So just letting the energy of pure crystalline water, sparkling water, flow through you, and just being able to just wash through anywhere you've been holding emotional energy in your body, deep in your body. Atala kanale shanare satla korna hareshaki atashala kotala hana yoku. We're asking for the support of the divine feminine, Mother Mary, Kuan Yin, to assist us in feeling safe, to let these emotions flow where we don't have to protect them. E kana le kotodaya shokotesa la kotahan eta amara shekatia soto no makato shokora atana kiata etana ma oto to koraki. We've held a lot of pain and trauma and suffering in our wombs, so we're concentrating here with that water to just flow and release. Kotala kata mahre e shokora sata di kiata na korosha kato sata na mokoroshi. Etane eto to maresha kutana ma atu koroshi ke de barashe koroso. And lastly, we're moving down into our roots, into our legs, and into our feet to commit to being present here. Right? You chose to be here on this earth at this time, embracing that soul decision and embodying all of your frequency, all of your consciousness into this now moment. Right? So often we end up, our consciousness is in the future and worry, or in the past and regret. And so we're asking to be present, because in this space of our bodies, in this present, this is how we anchor the love in. This is how we bring it all the way through into the earth, and that can ripple out and share. So it's so important for us to be connected, present, and anchored in our bodies. And your next breath in, imagine just beautiful earth energy flowing into your feet, into your root, all the way up and out your body. Imagine you and the earth breathing as one, as this beautiful symbiotic, harmonious relationship. No separation. We hold so much in our root that keeps us, from feeling connected or feeling our emotions. So this is just a big area that is kind of like a bottleneck. So just asking to open this up. Tekare shokora sotaro sotare ketor shakia kurukua. Hanara soto nakiato naki kia mokora shiki. And then we're just going to bring this all together to integrate. And anything else you would like to release here or embody here. Perhaps you want to move into a state of creation now. What do you desire to bring in as you've made more space? Do you want to embody more love, more joy? The embracing your infinite capacity as a creator. So just allowing the energies to flow in to replace. Also for feeling to bring in the energy of the 144 activation. And if you don't know about 144, that's okay. It's just something that is wanting to come through. It's like an encodement. So receiving that. E cura pare e toto corre che te namarasce che te però sotto lo corre e tata con lo corosha are e toto to masata done mesha korokusa te de bahane e to korokuta tia koroma. E talo corre e tata mo ora e koro satana e akora shaki. Let's take some nice, big, deep breaths. And I'll invite you you to just move your body, stretch, take some more big deep breaths, just allowing this all to settle in and assimilate. Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. That feels very clear, and effervescent is the word that comes to me.
I like that word.
I like that word too. And we're going to go to our audience now on Zoom. And there is a question in the Q&A box. It's from an anonymous attendee. So if this person wants to say their name, we'd love to speak your name. But this is the question. I don't know if you can see the questions there, Jen. Very disconnected from love, and I'd say self-love. And even though I do self-care in very critical of myself in so many small ways, my mom was critical of me as a child, but I've really spent my whole life clearing a lot of this garbage. I'm a strong, independent woman, but truth is, I don't attract love at all. Really intrigues me because I know I'm not actively looking for love, but I'd like to attract an authentic love without any of the usual stress. And I hope that this person felt a release of some of this issue from what we just went through.
Yeah.
So what would you have to say to this beautiful person here?
And we don't have a name, correct?
No, we don't. But
Okay.
please, if you're listening, share your name with us, or a name.
Well, what I was were two things initially came up, and I think you already know this, but our mother wounds run very deep, and in our if we have felt rejected by mother and then we reject the mother, we reject the femininity within ourselves. This has been huge for me in my journey, and because to be in full embracing of the divine feminine, um it wasn't safe, right? It
Yeah.
wasn't safe, and it was represented through that mother. So what I would recommend, and we'll tune in here to see if we can support you energetically now. What I would recommend is to do some inner child work um, with your inner child, and the wounds that are still being um, the wounds that are still vibrating, um, and not work, but invite that divine feminine in daily. um to me, this is a practice I have to be conscious of all the time, because my tendency, because I didn't grow up in a safe environment, I took on the masculine in a very powerful way, very independent, very strong, very much in that doing and not in that receiving. And a lot of empaths operate this way because of the unsafe. So with that said, let's go ahead and just see if there's anything we can support you with energetically. And as I tune in, I just go straight to the heart. So the wounds that are in your heart, and this is for everybody. Okay, so everybody can receive here, because we all have been wounded, especially in the divine feminine. We've existed in that patriarchal, you know, society for eons and eons. So we all have this. So we're just going to ask to go, I'm just going to bring the light language in to see if we can bring some softness and some release of the wounds that we've held, where the feminine didn't feel safe to be, to express, to receive. Ikonashe itosha abareshe ke to satara sototo tori ki makare. And this is like the betrayal, right? So a lot of betrayal energy, and it didn't feel safe to lean in the masculine, and that the trueness of that feminine masculine relationship is pure, and the feminine leans back and is supported by the masculine, but for so long that was not available. So there's this betrayal of the purity of these relationships that should be and was not. And so, we protect ourselves, and there's a lot in the back of the heart here. So we'll see if we can soften some of this. E todo sotaria tata vosotonoma, satodomana satanamere eshokoraki. And again, inviting in the feminine. So if there is a particular Mother Mary, Kuan Yin, Mary Magdalene, if there's some feminine energy that you can bring in that can be received, it's almost like there's a possibility of like gifting this frequency so we can entrain ourselves to remember what it is to embody the feminine. And this is going to be just a practice of receiving and a practice of asking. So let's just see if we can all bring a little more of that in now. You might want to move your body, just, like if you gave complete permission for the consciousness, the beauty and intelligence of your body to flow, how might your body want to move right now? And also the again, for all of us, but specifically to our person who asked, tuning into your creative capacity. So whether that's dance, whether that's art, whether that's just movement of some kind, or singing, any kind of creative expression that's wanting to move through like your womb, right? So womb, and even if you're I think it was a female, but just moving creation. And what's funny, Loren, is I pulled this card right before we got on today. It's the creation.
Wow.
um Says unique expression, flow of creation, joyfulness, right? And this is for all of us, like tuning into how do we want to express love, creation through us, right? And that is the re-entrainment of the feminine, so we can not just receive it, but express it and allow it to move through us. So that's what I get for our friend.
All right. And we hope that helps. That helps all of us. Thank you. All right. So we've got a few more callers. I'm going to get to them in just a moment. I want to give you a minute, Jen, to talk about a special offer that you've got. It's right here on this webpage, and it's in the chat box for our Zoom audience. But this is really good because this is really affordable. I mean, this is a beautiful offering. You've got a self-love alchemy guidebook with 7 light language activations, a mini course that goes with that at a really great price, and then also a live Zoom interactive with you. And that's everything. And check out the price of that. That's really remarkable. Thank you for that. Can you offer some words on how this supports people in their journey?
Sure. So the guidebook came through again, when I was in that space of receiving earlier this year and bringing through the pillars. And I just started to write it down. And then I realized, well, I could probably create something where, through the awareness of each pillar, then we could self-identify, right, the blocks to love that we've been talking about. So the guidebook walks you through just an overview of each pillar, and then there's some journal questions in there for you to have that self-awareness. And then once you receive the guidebook, each day you'll receive in your email an audio light language transmission, going through the pillar. So for 7 days, you'll receive those audio tracks. And the mini course was called Optimize Your New Year. And when we get into the new year, there's so much creation space. And so I did a series with a couple of Zooms, and I can't remember how many days off the top of my head, but I want to say there's maybe like 6-7 videos, just opening up the space of creation and removing the blocks that we have, where we've kept ourselves small. So, And even though it was launched in the new year, you can pick it up anytime when you want some support with manifestation. And there's a lot of energetic transmissions in there to clear the blocks to, abundance and creation and whatever seeds you've been planting, so that there's greater alignment to bring that into your life. So that's a mini course, and you'll have access to that instantly, and you can just self-pace it as you need to. Oh, and then the second part of that option is once on the 16th of March, I think that's a week from now, um just bringing all of the guidebook and the audio tracks, and just providing some personal support as we're doing here, taking it deeper into clearing blocks to self-love, balancing our energy, and just seeing if we can anchor some more in for all of us. And so the Zoom is it's very fluid, because it'll be directed towards who is in the group. So it'll be the container of what's being needed by the people who attend, and then we'll go from there.
Beautiful. Again, that is, I like to say the word no-brainer because of the beautiful offering, the affordability of this, so that more people can access it and start using it and just get activated with all of it. So thank you for offering this. Through this whole year of 2022, we have a great opportunity to create, really, with the divine feminine qualities, and that's all about creation as well. So we thank you for, isn't that amazing? We thank you for this offering, and we invite all of those watching and listening to check it out and see if it resonates with your heart. It's a very powerful tool. Okay, well, we heard from the anonymous attendee. Her name is Annie, and she
Hi,
said,
Annie.
I was just being bold, a bold girl by not saying my name. All right, thank you. And Annie says, that was so beautiful. Yes, it helps. I am writing the book, but a bit stuck on that too, and also going to do more for my inner child. Thank you. And Annie says, going to do the 7 days light language also. Perfect.
So when
Annie,
you're
I,
sitting down to write the book, call in
mm,
that feminine energy. And an English teacher taught me this recently when I was actually drafting the guidebook, was don't self-edit as you're writing. You may know this already, but just be in that free flowing, ask to be that pure conduit of that divine wisdom, allowing yourself to embody that feminine. And then when you're just sitting down to write, like, just let it flow. Like, that's part of your creation energy. And if you need to stimulate it with something that you're less attached to, as far as like writing a book, start with something that there's no attachment to, like a piece of art, or something like that. Or get your body in movement before you sit down and write. Put on something, put on a song that feels, really, really powerful for you, or really, really loving and fluid, and let your body move, and then sit down and let the energy flow through.
love it. And love that tip about not, again, it's no judgment of what we're writing. And I am mostly assured and pretty confident that people who do that, when they go back and look at what they wrote, will be amazed, and they will see the higher consciousness coming through.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
It happens
amazing.
all the time. Like, 'cause sometimes I'll be doing some channel writing, and I'm like, is that me? Or, and then I'll go back a couple of days later, and I was like, oh, but when you pull out and you're detached, and then you go back and read it, you're in that different, more objective space.
It's amazing, isn't it? I
It
mean,
is.
I wonder how many people who have done that go back and look and just are stunned. I am. I'm always stunned, but I don't do anything with it. And so maybe that's a lesson for all of us, that this information, we need to share it, right? We need to share it with others. So everyone be bold, like Annie. Okay, thanks, Annie. Here, Vanita, I'm going to come to you. You took your hand down. So if you'd like us to unmute you, raise your hand again, Vanita. Right now, we're going to go to Sarita. And Sarita, I'm going to make you a panelist so that you can come in and share your video. If you want to be on audio only, that's cool too. But Sarita, hello.
There
Hi.
she is.
Hi, Sarita.
Hello.
Hi, Jen. Hi, Lauren. Very helpful and very remind me because I I've been I've been created with you know in the past couple months that I create and planning for the what they call unified community for healing physical, mentally, and spiritually for the orphanage kids, for all the kids and child adopted. And I and then one night I had a dream that somebody showed me the name Sakio, and I looked it up. Um, it happened to be the Archangel Sakio, and they want me to communicate with Archangel Sakio for support me and help me because my manifestation is I can't do it alone. I'm calling for my tribe
Yeah.
that to come and support me, and I need your help for that.
You don't, but I'll offer it anyway because you're already there. So were you listening when we did the first part of the meditation where we're bringing heaven on earth?
Mhm.
That's what Zadkiel feels like will support you, so calling in that angelic presence, but also really being in the body as the conduit, as the receiver. Like your energy feels really expansive, and so my sense for you is which is nice. It's light and it's powerful, but we also want to move it down and through your body. And so opening up those channels of communication, trusting those messages to work with Archangel Zadkiel. But what I feel like is in the most simplistic terms I can share with you, it's like you are the anchor, like to bring love into earth, to bring joy, to bring um, humanity, to bring service. And so it's the allowance of that and honoring your body, honoring your spirit as um what's the word? Like to be able to hold this and to be able to share this, like this is part of your gift. So reverence and honor and not with ego, of course, but just with a true self appreciation. And I think and that feels like it's going to help open up the pathway even clearer and stronger.
So can you see that this project gonna go through?
The project.
Yeah, the project with the children.
Oh, I see. um I tend not to like to give like definitive yes or no's on things like that because there's so much possibility and the timeline and the outcome. What I do feel for you, and we can bring a little light language in for this, is um I kind of get like there's a sense of like, well, why me? Like, am I really, powerful enough? And there's a little bit of blockage in the heart. And so that goes back to what I was just saying, to really like self appreciate, self honor, and revere yourself, with like how powerful you are, and these gifts that are wanting to come through. So what I'd like to do, if, with your permission, is we'll just see if we can open up some of that heart energy for you to really believe in yourself and for
Yes,
you to
please.
really trust and honor. Does that sound good? Okay. Go ahead and put your hands over your heart for me and repeat after me in that. Let me see what specific words. I honor and trust myself.
I honor and trust myself.
I acknowledge
I
the
acknowledge
beauty and
beauty
love that I am.
and love that I am.
And any other statements
And
that come
other,
into your awareness, just go ahead and you can say them out loud or say them in your mind. And I'm going to bring through the light language and help to open up a greater space for you to receive this love within yourself. O katoro so kuturu siti birishu sata badaso to basana mesha korokutoro korki. E toro suturu maraya kutrama ato do sata tore. I just feel like these are doors that are opening. So anywhere you've closed the doors from yourself or from power or from love, we're going to open them all up. It's like opening the windows and letting the light in. E kuro sa ateta sota pasha kedameresha kututu satatu satatiki. E la corre eshukuru marasata do korki. And it's like when we open the windows and the light comes in through the windows, but it illuminates the whole room. So let's bring that light in and illuminate your whole body. Etalo corre eto shakata mosata jeshu kuro shepeda shakona maare eto to corre kiko ma sheke pasho kore ki. Eto do corre kita da mere shokoro kusiki. So the message for you in you know pertaining to your question is like you're able to hold and express so much power that where you direct your energy and where you direct your attention, you know, just creates infinite possibility. So trusting yourself, honoring yourself, and acknowledging, you know, the capacity that you have to shift the world, to be in service, and for your body to, you know, receive that in feels very strong. So let's just bring it all the way in. Tota barasha corresce che barasso tonomo corricite de brasho conoma are esce coro sotto do corricite de brasso no ma ada auto sotto do key. And just kind of unwinding some of the places where you felt constricted in your heart. And this is for everybody who's listening. You can receive this as well. Etala konalia tonomara shakoro marasha keramara shakoro kosanaria kore sharki. Utaraya shakoro shanereshi. I was once told that I was channeling the Elohim when I was doing light language, and that the Elohim just kind of popped in that they represent taking spirit, you know, ether into matter, right? Heaven into earth. Like, so when I see you, that's like your job. And again, trusting and honoring yourself that
is that Elohim and Raziel? This I'm not sure the same person because one when the light language come in, I can hear Raziel.
beautiful. Yeah, so and everybody who receives the light language, like people who are listening now, are going to receive it different than you. So again, this is for you to trust yourself and honor what is coming through for you, because my experience is going to be different than your experience. The light language just it transcends any of our, you know, own individual attachments to it.
Can I share, because they want me to share this light language to you? Can I do that?
Please, that would be lovely.
Aku de hade, aku de hade, aku de hade, oh.
Thank you. It felt like this beautiful, like veil of softness, like just coming down and like wrapping around me and like chills all the way down my body.
And
Yeah.
thank you, because I feel a lot better, and now I can see when I can see that I calling my tribe, and my expectation is just, the person in this realm. Now my vision that it brought brand to me now that my tribe is very old tribe that allow me now that gonna support me and help me.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And just receive it. Yeah.
And I can feel like the whole brightness in the house, the white crystal golden light that's flowing in. It's just so amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was wonderful to receive that from you as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Roland. I miss you a lot. I've been
I know, I miss you too. That was beautiful. And I know you on your journey. And I think Jen was spot on there, right? She pegged it. Yeah. Beautiful, goddess. Go for it. Be bold. Sing that light language. It was beautiful.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for
Beautiful.
sharing that with everybody.
Yes. Thank you. All right. We have time for another. Let's go to Vanita. Vanita, you can unmute yourself and ask your question. Hi.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes, hi.
Hi, Vanita.
Thank you. My connection is a little bit unstable, so I hope that you're able to hear my question. That is why I posted it in the Q&A as well, just in case.
Yes, we can hear you.
Perfect. So I'm torn because I put my question about love and seeing if there's any healing or wounds that I need to heal in my heart or elsewhere to be released to invite my divine love soul partner in, or to ask you about what I'm looking to create in my work.
Okay. I'm immediately taken to your heart. So I feel like I just want to kind of dive right in and see if there's anything specific that comes up, but let's just start to open up some space there. Cause like when you were talking about relationship, like I immediately just kind of felt like like in my heart. So sorry, I think stuff clearing already. So let's go ahead and let's bring your breath and your attention to your heart space. I like your picture on your cameras from the Beyond Lemuria Oracle deck, isn't it? Oh, are you still with us?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Anyway, okay. So let's just go into the heart. So anywhere there's been divisions, barriers to love, to receiving love, to communing with love, let's just ask to find those, enlighten those. Etola katabra shokoro sanamere shikitero shokoro satana yakoro etachi namere shikitibere shokoro sato do soto do ki. It's almost like there was like a blow, like a unexpected event where it doesn't have to be physical, but like where there was a blindsided. And when we have that kind of experience where we're going along and we feel safe and everything's going okay, and then all of a sudden bam, life comes and like blindsides you. It feels like something kind of went into the center of your heart. So just asking to see if we can release that. Because if we carry around this energy, then we're always in this space of like expecting, so we're like, oh, our antenna is really high, and like, oh, what's next, like what's gonna be coming at me again. So there's protection because we're like, uh-oh, I was blindsided once, can't let that happen again. So it feels like there was just some protection that layered up as a result of whatever experience that was. So we're going to ask just to soften that. Okay, she says, my business partner 2 years ago devastated me. I have been on healing journey since. Okay, so what I would like for you to do is grab a journal. Start off by writing, whatever the victim part of you that received that blow still needs to move through. Like, remember we talked about the allowance, right? So just moving through and just dump it out, bring the emotions, bring the tears. We're not looking to forgive, we're not looking to justify, we're not looking to see the higher perspective of this yet. Okay, like step one is for you to really go deep into these wounds that have yet to be released. Then when you feel like that cup is empty, that barrel, then you can go back. It doesn't have to be the same day, and begin to write about how the gifts that you received from this devastation, right? So you said you've been on a healing journey since, so that you can receive everything that this experience offered you. But we're not looking to spiritually bypass by saying like, oh, let's just receive it all in the highest light, when you have the wounds that are still in. We got to go in there and clear them out, so then you can receive the blessings, you can receive the gifts and the silver lining. And so I have moved into the gifts and seeing her as a big teacher for me. Yes, so beautiful perspective, and that's definitely where we want to go, but we can't bypass if the wounds are still there. So what I'm going to do is bring in a little bit more light language, and I'm going to just see if we can loosen this up for you, so that when you go deep in and you write from the perspective of your injury, of your wounds, it'll be easier for you to access the pain that's still being held in the heart. And I love how the card that you have is a heart, like right in the middle. And it's funny how it's like, so we just want to go in there, and we're going to just like, it's like going into the closet where the boxes are all sealed up, and we pushed them into the back of the closet, and we're going to see if we can open them up and then send you on your way to do your spring cleaning. And go ahead and tap right on your chest here, like literally loosening up the stagnant energy. Big breaths. And ultimately, as you go through this process, it'll be like a completion of the contract between you and that person. It'll ultimately go to like where, the forgiveness just creates neutrality with it. But again, allowing yourself to not bypass the wounds that are still there. Eto barasha korasheke barasoto no makari kita korakuta na merasha korosuto no korakiki de marasheke berashiki. Eto do barashiki. The other thing is I would also invite you to journal a response to this question. In what ways do I need to protect myself? Or in what ways do I protect myself? Or in what ways do I act in a way of keeping myself safe? To just bring awareness of that. So how are we doing, Vanita?
So beautiful. Thank you so much. I think I needed to hear that, because even though I've done so much healing work, there's clearly some wounds that are still tucked away pretty deep. So I think for you to bring that light in again today tells me I still have some work to do, which I'm very happy to do. So I appreciate you so much. I'm actually moved to tears. So thank you.
It's my honor, and you are welcome.
Tears are good.
Yes.
Thank you, Vanita.
Thank you, Vanita.
Thank you for loving yourself in this way. Thank you. What a beautiful session today. Very healing, very supportive, very nurturing for all of us. We are lifted higher. As I was listening to your light language and running the infinity symbols, I just realized how much this space together with all of us is just so important. And I love it. And it's the highlight of my day. And if all we do is help other people get in the heart this way and stay in the heart and create in the heart this way, then we've done a great job. And I want to thank you, Jen, and I want to thank everyone for your beautiful light and for your sharing and the work that you do within. We've got this and we're doing it. Jen, as we say goodbye, I want to just give you a moment to close our sacred space.
Thank you. Well, I first want to share my gratitude and echo what Loren just shared, in that us gathering in this sacred space together is so important, right? Whether you are facilitating, whether you are listening, whether you pick this up at another time, like, your contribution is invaluable. And I think we can all recognize and agree that it is our path to do this within ourselves, but it doesn't mean we have to do it alone. And it's like, we can ask for the support, whether it be, with another human person, or whether it be with our family of light, and remembering that that connection is always available, and to honor our journeys. And even, when we go through times that is painful, things are certainly intense. And, to be in this space and to come on, Loren has such a beautiful community. Like, just being here is your contribution. Just being here and listening and being present is a gift to all of us who are here. And so honor that and thank you.
Beautiful words from Jen Cunnings, and she is here to assist you. And again, check out this special offer, download it immediately, get those 7 activations going, and add your beautiful light to the world. We thank you guys for being here. All these wonderful love lights and heart lights. Jen, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you,
Namaste.
Loren. Thank you for the beautiful light that you are in bringing us all together. That's quite the job you took on.
I love it.
I know.
And it goes all the way back to Lemuria, or responsibility there. So thank you. All right, everyone. Happy remembrances of who you truly are. Namaste.
Namaste. Oh, and happy Women's Day.
Oh, yes.
Thank
Happy
you for
Women's
listening to
Day.
this quantum conversation, and thank you for dancing with us to the cosmic heart. As we raise our own vibration, we raise the vibration of the planet. This show is dedicated to you and all awakening hearts, as we are here to shine our bright light and amplify our love. Access all quantum conversations, special offers from our guests, and online healing retreats by visiting acoustichealth.com. I'm Loren Gailey, and from my sacred heart to yours, I honor your magnificent love and light. We leave you now with music from the universe. Music literally created by the universe, as musical notes were assigned to mathematical equations. The result is this beautiful music, available at acoustichealth.com. Namaste.